I've had quite a few comments recently asking how the new seeded permaculture orchard turned out. Well, I figured today is a good day to give you an update, so let's go see. Before you go jumping to conclusion and say, what? Seeding an orchard? Maybe you should just check out, there's a 4-video playlist on the new seeded permaculture orchard. Prepared, basically rolled out. We still have a bit of hay left over here, but we rolled out this hay into these rows and you don't even see much of the hay left anymore. Frankly, there isn't much of it showing. Mainly it's quackgrass that came in and filled. That's why you see it's so nice and green on those strips. It's kind of appropriate that we did the mistake series in the last 4 videos because I wouldn't say this is a mistake. It's a good idea, and I think normally it should have worked. Unfortunately, you never know what the weather's going to be like. And this spring for our area was exceptionally dry. Basically, as soon as the snow melted, we didn't have any rain for about 6 weeks. So being that this is sand, you might hear in the background they're working in the gravel pit. This is just sand and gravel. And so once the snow melted and the ground thawed, the little bit of moisture in the soil just disappeared, and the seeds never had any never had any moisture afterwards to give them the push to germinate. It wouldn't take all that much water, but it took some. This is pretty well what it looks like where there was the hay mulch. It's still there, or it should be there. So those who remember it, green meant pear. So I came back here a week or 2 ago and I put in a bunch more pear in some of these because really nothing. I did find 3 trees, but I didn't mark them. 3 trees that did start up. Whether they still survive, I'm not sure. I haven't checked every single hole, but everywhere I checked, I didn't see a tree that had germinated. So it might have been a complete miss. The other thing is, you see this is pretty thick grass. Bo is pretty happy searching for voles in here. So this is a great place for voles right now. They love this mulch. You see there's a tunnel right there. See how it goes inside. And so, oh, and a mushroom. So the voles have been busy underneath this mulch. Now what happens is, when I put seeds, like we did last fall, or we put seeds, Sebastian and Melody, and so even look at that, I just put that down and there's hardly anything left. You see there's a trail actually goes right in there, comes right through this patch and then goes in here. So the voles have been using the seeds as a food store, as a way, just a food source. So they've been really eating out the seeds that we put down for the tree seeds. Now, let me say that to do this, I will do it over again, and I'll put seeds again because we still have pears that have fallen. I'll put some more seeds down, and hopefully next spring we'll have more moisture, and then hopefully some of these will actually germinate. Unfortunately, we had hardly any plums this year, so I have no more plum seed to put in. Blue was plum. And so I'll put the pear seeds in, and I'll put apple seeds in, and I'll try again, see for next spring, and if not, then I will just transplant some trees into it. Because waiting a year, or actually losing a year, is not what I was aiming for. But you know, when you try something new, it's only a mistake if you don't try again. What does it say? If at first you don't succeed, try again. Well, that's the idea. Some of these, actually, the hay is still remains. The grass didn't invade that badly. But I'll try it again. And if it doesn't work, well, maybe I'll try next spring a bunch of seeds in pots, in root maker pots, and then transplant them. It wouldn't be the most ideal, but if I start them in pots, I'm going to program the seeds. And I want to do a video just on programming seeds because it's a pretty fascinating technique I learned. And so I want these trees to really be super well adapted to this site, this area, this soil. I don't want these trees to languish and to suffer. That was the idea of seeding direct, because here you have some left over from the organic orchard, so there's a few trees left here. We didn't pull them all out, we left a few Cortland. But these trees are 40 years old. They're on dwarf rootstock, but this isn't the soil that these trees were developed for. And so I want trees that are developed for really this soil. So I'll try programming them if they don't come up next year. I'm going to program some seeds and transplant them next summer, or at most next fall. And then we'll see. So it's not a mistake because I plan on redoing, but it is a setback. But what's the permaculture principle? The feedback loop. So you try something and you get some feedback. So this is my year of feedback. 2 things I learned, kind of new, but if there's a lot of voles, there's a lot of pressure for anything that's food. So there was quite a bit of voles in here, maybe spring, summer, maybe not so much in the winter, because we did check and it wasn't that bad. But I know the population's climbing right now, so it might actually be worse. Well, seeing how they've eaten what I put in 2 weeks ago, yeah, the population's probably in here even a little more. So that's one. And the second thing is you've got to have enough moisture to germinate. So if it starts off any bit as dry as this past spring we had, 2020, then I'll run some drip lines in here and then let it get at least a little bit of water, enough to germinate these seeds. So try to get conditions appropriate. And there's a reason why this soil does not grow wild apple or wild pear. There is some wild plum that's bordering on the drier. Cherry is the driest, plum, then apple, and last is pear. So it's surprising that there were even a few pears that germinated. I'll have to adjust for next year. So there's the feedback loop. Adjust, try again. If I'll get some more feedback next year, if I have to adjust again, and do it again. Maybe if I have to, I'll put the seeds in a wire mesh just so that they can germinate, and then perhaps take the mesh off. Well, that's extreme measures to do just to get some seeds to germinate, but you got to do what you got to do if you want a certain result. Which, result-wise, in terms of how much germination, was pretty close to 0. And so I'll have to adjust and try again next year. You try things, adjust, and go ahead. That's how we learn. That's how we advance things. And you never know, I might get a wonderful pear come out of here, or an apple, or a plum. And so that would be a great bonus. Thanks for watching. Intrigued? Check out the virtual tour of the Permaculture Orchard. Have trees already? pruningcourse.com. Subscribe, please. Check out some of the other videos or playlists. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Bye. So that's my update on the seeded permaculture orchard. What's the second thing? What is the second thing I was going to say?